Hey, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, then welcome. My name is Maddie, and today I will be doing another Furuba Friday. So for this week, I wanted to discuss the latest episode again, just like I did last week. There's some things that I would like to go over because I think last episode was probably the most pivotal episode in the series, so it would be fun to just analyze everything that has happened in it, how it's changed things for the plot. So that's what we're just gonna go over in this one. So why don't we just get started? I'm gonna go over everything but Akito and Toru's meeting first because I want to end the video on the major part of why I wanted to talk about this episode, but I'm going to talk about everything leading up to that moment and also a little bit after it as well. I'm going to insert this here because it's something I forgot to talk about. I swear this happens every single time. I always leave something out. I hate it. But I just thought of this scene and I'm like, okay, I cannot not talk about this part since it was pretty important. So it's the part where Kyo and Momiji are having a conversation by themselves. Kyo tells Momiji that he understands why they left Toru at the vacation house to go see Akito, and he understands that it's because they were only trying to keep her safe from Akito. When before Kyo kept thinking that it was ridiculous that they were leaving Toru all alone to go see Akito, he didn't get why, but now he does understand that it's because they just wanted to protect her from Akito, because if they did not go see him, if they stayed with Toru instead because they would rather be with her, it would only put a bigger target on Toru's back and Akito would come after her, which is something that I think we all knew. We knew the reason why they obeyed Akito and went with him to visit him and left Toru was because they were just trying to keep her safe. They knew if they didn't do it, then she would be in trouble. But it did take a while for Kyo to understand that, so I like that conversation because it really shows how much he understands that now. And I think the reason why that dawned on him is because during his meeting with Akito, he told him that he didn't love her just to protect her. So I think he related that to how the family is going to visit Akito just to protect Toru. So that's where that realization set in for him. One part that really got me throughout this whole conversation is how Momiji was like, I'm so selfish for loving Toru, which that statement was just so sweet, and I wanted to be like, no, you're not. Your love for her is genuine and you should love her like that. But also how Kyo was like, well, I'm selfish too because he already knows he loves Toru. So he kind of admitted it to Momiji, but I don't think he caught on, of course, but that was just a really sweet moment between the two. So I love this whole scene, and I loved how Toru was overhearing everything and she got so emotional and she had to compose herself before going up to them because she was starting to cry because she was so touched that they were doing all this to protect her. I loved it. Loved that whole scene. It was so wholesome. So wholesome compared to what was to come. The darkness, the devastation, the drama that was to come later on, but I still loved it. So the earliest moment in my notes is Akito and Shigure and their whole conversation, and also Kureno coming up, and Ren as well, which is one of the first instances where we hear about Ren. We heard about her, I think, 2 episodes ago, but she was brought up again, and I was like, I don't want to be reminded of her existence at all. I don't want to get to that point yet, but she is coming pretty soon because she keeps on being brought up now. One thing I wanted to address, this was after seeing some reactions from newbies, is a lot of them thought that when Akito was saying that woman, meaning Toru, I think the more we see Shigure and Akito together, the more prevalent it is that there's something going on with them. In the last episode, there was so much tension between them, different types of tension that I was picking up on, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm so ready to start that part of the story because we haven't gotten a lot of Shigure and Akito so far, but they definitely have been pretty evident in the beach arc. And now that Kurano is in the situation, it's gonna get a bunch of, what's the word, spicy up in here. There's gonna be a lot of drama that I am so excited to see. And I think the drama and regarding Shigure, Akito, and Kurano is going to take a lot of people by surprise because it's something we haven't really seen before, but it's going to be coming up and we're seeing the beginning of it. And speaking of Kurano, I love the fact that Akito commented that he looked really out of sorts, and in my reaction, I do remember I said it's because he's missing Arisa. I really think that is why Akito is like, he doesn't seem alright right now. During this time, Arisa is still on his mind. She has always been on his mind throughout the whole series. So we know that's who he's thinking about right now. We know that's who he wants to see right now. And he's obviously missing her, even though he knows, like, I'll probably never see her again. So I'm sure he knows he should give up on her, but can't help it once those feelings have already started. So I find it very interesting that Akito has picked up on those emotions, but of course he's not going to figure out the reason why he's feeling that way because Kurano has not told him about Arisa, and he never should tell him about her just to save her from getting into trouble. But at the same time, Akito can see that something is wrong, and we definitely know something is wrong. He's just thinking about Arisa and just wishing for his freedom. My poor baby. Moving on to the events after the Akito and Toru meeting while they're doing fireworks on the beach. One thing I really noticed is when Kyo and Toru are having this conversation where Toru asks Kyo, have you done fireworks before? And he explains that he's done fireworks with Kazuma, and then Kyo asks, you did fireworks with your mom, right? And one thing I find so cute about that and so sweet is how Kyo really does try to bring up her mom to her pretty often because he knows that she loves talking about her mom so much. And Kyo has even stated, like, I'll do something over and over again if it makes you happy. He stated that in his inner monologue, so that got me thinking that he probably brings up her mom quite a bit to her, as we've seen, because he knows talking about her makes her so happy. Because Toru does really light up whenever she talks about her mom because she loves her, and Kyo knows that. And I'm so happy that he will just do something like that to just have her talk about her mom to him no matter how many times it is, just to make her happy. And I'm sure he also likes hearing about her mom as well because they had a past together. And I'm also sure, because he said, he put it in a way that he was like, oh, you used to do fireworks with your mom, right? Which that kind of question alludes to the fact that he knows that she used to do fireworks with her mom because he talked to her in the past, so he knows all that, and Kyoko would tell him a lot about Toru, the stuff they would do together. So that's another clue. A clue that we already know that him and Kyoko used to know each other. So I love how all that ties in together really nicely. They are just so cute. Anytime when I can see any scenes with them, no matter how small it is, I love it. So I love that little scene right there, even though it lasted just a few seconds. This one is a pretty random point, but it's something I noticed. Reen, was she just there the whole entire time? Because while they're doing the fireworks, we see her observing everyone, and she's still in the clothes that Toru gave her from 2 or 3 days ago. I'm like, where has she been all this time? Was she like sleeping out in the woods? Is there some separate Soma vacation house in the area that she stayed at? I don't know, but I did think that was so weird, and that's not something I picked up on in the manga, but I noticed it in the anime. I'm just like, girl, have you been here the whole time? I thought that was pretty weird. Or else she went home, came back in Toru's clothes again. It just makes more sense that she stayed there. But, like, where did she stay? It's not a big deal. It's just, like, something I noticed that kind of left me perplexed. Alright, let's get into the juicy stuff now. The stuff that made me mad because of Akito and how horrible he is. So like I've been saying, there has always been a reason why the Zodiac members can't defy Akito, and now it has been stated in the anime they cannot disobey him because he is God. It is like a spiritual connection that they have to Akito to where they cannot disobey him at all. Even if they want to, they just can't. And I'm so glad the reason for that has been explained now, because I have been bringing it up in so many videos, I feel like, unintentionally, and I have always been left stumped because I'm like, wow, I cannot say why they cannot disobey Akito, but it's going to be revealed soon, and this was the episode where it was revealed, so I'm glad everyone finally knows. This was the episode that showed just how brutal the curse is and how it's more than just this family can turn into animals. It's way more than that. The curse is an actual curse that really hurts the Zodiac members psychologically. And they're all binded together. They're all binded to God, which is Akito, in a way that makes it so they don't have any freedom. That is the actual curse, that they are binded to someone that they cannot break free from, and that someone is an abuser, so it just makes everything even worse. They can't have any lives of their own. They can for now, but there's going to be a time when that's going to be taken away from them. They can't get married, they can't start their own families, they can't go out and have their own career. Everything they do is ruled by Akito. So when it comes down to it, the curse is that they don't have any freedom, which is terrible. And what I find interesting is that the eternal banquet that Akito talks about really is something that's only going to make Akito happy, but it is a curse for everyone else. And that just goes to show how deluded Akito is, to where he's like, oh, we're going to be living in this wonderful eternal banquet forever, and I'm just like, it's good for you, but these Zodiacs, they do not want that. You just know they want something way more than that. So really, it's something that only is going to make Akito happy, but no one else is going to benefit from it at all, which is really sad. So at this part, we see Momiji try to block Akito from going to see Toru because she's sleeping, but more than that, I'm sure Momiji was just like, no, let's have Toru be nowhere near Akito because he could really hurt her, so he was probably also, of course, trying to just stop their meeting altogether, not just because she was sleeping. And at this part, we do see Momiji try to push Akito away a little, but obviously he's still super scared. You could tell throughout that whole part that he was terrified, but at that point, he was trying to defy him, and he paid the consequences by getting hurt. And I think that's a pure example of just another reason why the Zodiacs can't disobey him, is because he's going to physically hurt them. Not just mentally, but physically, and that is something I'm sure none of them want. So the fact that Momiji stood up for her, knowing how bad the consequence could be, so much respect for him. It just shows his maturity, even though he's someone who portrays himself as very young and naive. He actually is super mature for his age, and it really showed during that scene. But yet, when we see Toru come out and block Momiji from him, once that happens, Momiji doesn't try at all to fight back, which goes to show in the end he really can't fight back because of the curse, like I mentioned. Even though he was crying, probably because he really wanted to, which made that scene so much more heartbreaking, because you know he wants to protect her, but he just can't against Akito because the curse physically will not allow him to go against Akito and fight him back, even though he tried to at first, but he just couldn't, which was so freaking sad. And I'm sure he felt so helpless at that point that he could not protect Toru anymore. But Toru was so strong during that scene. Of course, she was being just emotionally beat down by Akito, which was hard to watch, but she was still very strong in that scene, even questioning Akito on, why are you doing this? Who are you? Which Akito tells her that he is God. But along with that, she just questions so much about him, which I'm sure was really getting on Akito's nerves, of course. So she was just so strong in that scene, and so strong afterwards, which I will get to in a moment. The part that probably broke me the most during that whole scene, and it's something that I haven't seen anyone talk about, so I'm not sure if that's just me being a clown again, but it's something I did take notice of, and it's the fact that once Akito tells Toru Kyo is going to be locked up forever after high school, like, she just looks completely crushed after that. Like, the second that he tells her that, her eyes just go, like, wide, and she's, like, seems completely terrified and so concerned right away. And that just broke me, which rightfully so, because that is her best friend right now. All the Somas are her friends. One of her best friends right now, someone who means so much to her. So the fact that he's going to be taken away from her, that he's going to be living alone forever, like Akito is saying, like, of course that's going to completely crush her. And I like that we saw in her expression how badly that did affect her the second that she heard it. Like, imagine if one of your friends, you found out they're just going to be locked up forever and you can never see them again. I mean, I would be pretty devastated too, so I could totally understand why she was feeling that way, and it hurts even more because of just what he is to her. I'm gonna stop there, but once you get the full understanding of the whole story, then that moment really makes you understand just how devastated she is. This was actually something I did not put in my notes, but I do want to discuss it. I even forgot to mention it in my reaction for some reason. But it's the fact that now we know that Kureno is the rooster, which I think we knew about that 2 episodes ago. It was kind of brought up. It was mentioned that Kureno is part of the zodiac, and at that time the only zodiac animal left was the rooster. So I just assumed newbies knew by that information that he was the rooster, although I did still see some that didn't put the pieces together. So now those people who didn't put it together do know that Kureno is the rooster and that Akito is not. Which I think it never made sense for Kureno. Which I think it never made sense for Akito to be the rooster, because Akito is way too powerful to just be any ordinary zodiac member. We know that Toru for a while did think that Akito was the rooster, but even she was like, there's no way that he's just a zodiac animal. He is clearly different. He is way too powerful, and it's clearly someone else to all the zodiac members. So she was starting to put those pieces together, and then she was like, who are you? So I like that she also came to that realization, because during this whole time we saw how bad Akito was and how much power he has, that I think most of us knew there's just no way he can be a zodiac member. But until this point, I don't think Toru understood just how powerful Akito was until the point where that meeting happened. Because before that, she had only met Akito once, which was when he came to the school and confronted Yuki. And during that time, she did see how much power he does hold over Yuki. So I think she got some kind of idea, but not enough during that one instance. She wasn't really getting it yet. So it's pretty realistic that until the point where they have their meeting at the vacation house, she thought he was the rooster, because she didn't understand the full extent of his power yet, and the power that he holds over the Soma family. She didn't know that yet, so it makes sense why she thought that. But now she knows that Kureno is the rooster and Akito is God, so now all the pieces have come together for her. So after Akito leaves, the adults come out, which is Shigure and Hatori, and they see that she's been hurt. Akito has scratched her, so they attend to that. But that isn't even on Toru's mind. The first thing she is thinking about is Momiji and if he is okay, which is such a Toru thing to do, to think of others over herself. And oh, that moment when she goes to Momiji and just hugs him, and it's just like such beautiful tears while he cries. Oh, so freaking sweet. Have I stated on this channel before that Momiji and Toru is one of my ships? Like, Toru and Kyo definitely is my #1 OTP. That will never change. But I also kind of ship Momiji and Toru because they are so sweet together, and the love that Momiji has for her is so freaking sweet. I just cannot stand it. They are the ultimate innocent, pure couple of the series alongside Hiro and Kisa, so I just love them, and I love that their relationship had a spotlight in this episode, and that because of what they went through during that meeting with Akito together, they have this new sort of connection now that we're going to see throughout the rest of the series. And then we see that Yuki and Kyo and Haru had been eavesdropping on that whole confrontation that Toru had with Akito, and they did nothing to step in, which a lot of people took notice of and were like, why did they not step in and stand up for her? I saw a few people saying that, but we all know that has already been explained like minutes before that, because like I have already stated a lot of times, the Zodiacs can't defy Akito because he is God. So that's the reason why they couldn't step in, but we did see that Kyo wanted to, and Haru had to physically hold him back so that he wouldn't do it. And I want to be like, I wish Kyo would have just gone and protected his girl. I would have loved to see that, but I understand why Haru held him back, because them stepping in and protecting Toru would only cause more trouble for her and would make her seem like more of a target. So that is another reason why I think they didn't do it, sadly. They knew that if they stood up for her, it would just make things worse, and they didn't want to make things worse for Toru and hurt her more than Akito was already hurting her. So that had to be painful for them to watch. Akito freaking claw her face in front of them. I bet that had to be driving Kyo crazy, and that was the moment where he was like, oh hell no, and was about to go out there, but Haru held him back. I wish they could have been there for her, but sadly they just had to stand there and watch, and I'm sure they felt so helpless. The last thing I wanted to talk about is how, although the scene with Toru and Akito was so hard to watch because it made a lot of us super angry, the way Akito was treating Toru, at the same time it was so crucial for that meeting to happen so that Toru knows the full extent of how bad the curse is. So now she is motivated to break it. Toru now knows that the Zodiacs are going to be with Akito forever, starting at some point, and she does not want that because she understands they're not going to have any freedom. Kyo is going to be locked up forever. He's just going to be alone forever, and of course she doesn't want that either. So she is super determined to break the curse. She makes that declaration, I want to break the curse no matter how badly I get punished for it, I'm gonna do it. And she is determined, and I am so looking forward to confident, determined, motivated Toru who will not let anyone stand in her way of helping her friends gain their freedom. I am so excited for that. That is why this episode is the most pivotal episode ever. It also is the episode that really changes her character and sets her on this new path that we're going to see her go down on. I am so excited to see all of that, and I'm so proud of her for wanting to help her friends gain their freedom, even though she knows that it could backfire on her and she could be severely punished by Akito because of it. She just does not care, which at the same time is so unlike her, but like her at the same time, because it's unlike her for her to meddle in anything. She doesn't like to bother anyone. She doesn't like to make things hard for anyone. So it's different for her to be like, nope, that's not what's going to happen and I'm going to change it. But at the same time, it's so like her for her to do something for the people that she cares about, for their benefit, which the benefit is helping the Zodiacs gain their freedom away from Akito. So she's changing, but she is still staying the same at the same time. Absolutely cannot wait to see the little subtle changes in her on her journey to break the curse, which we're going to see throughout the rest of the series. I think that is all I wanted to say. I do plan to do this again for next week's episode because it's another episode that I think I'm going to have some things to say on. I was informed that it is the episode where Kagura and Kyo have this date where Kagura expresses her true feelings towards him, which I am so excited for, because it is the episode where we finally get to see Kagura's real character development, which I don't think we've seen a lot of so far. She'll get a lot more depth in that episode, and we'll also know her true feelings for Kyo, which I think is going to take a lot of people by surprise, so I'm really excited to see it. And I think I'm going to have something to analyze about that episode as well. I don't think I'm going to do it for next Furuba Friday. I'm going to try to get that review out earlier in the week, so I'm going to do something else for Furuba Friday, and for next week for sure I'm going to do this. I have a video planned where I'm going to react to a video that one of my dear friends, 𝑤𝑖𝑙𝑙, made, where she did a dub comparison to the original Fruits Basket dub, comparing it to the new one, which I really want to see, but I really wanted to react to, so I'm going to watch that for next week. I'm saving it for next Furuba Friday, so that'll be the next one. So we'll be comparing both versions of the dub next week, which I think is going to be super interesting. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Be sure to add anything that I didn't mention in the comments. If I left some things out that you noticed about the episode, let me know them, or if you want to expand on anything that I said, do comment it, because I would love to read them. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more anime related videos and anime reactions. And be sure to click that bell icon beside the subscribe button if you want to be notified for whenever I post a new video. And I'll be back really soon. Bye!